Imagine waking up late for school or rushing out the door for work, and within minutes you're biting into something warm, sweet, and flaky straight from the toaster. That's the magic of Pop-Tarts, an American icon that's been fueling mornings, study sessions, and midnight cravings for decades. They aren't just a breakfast food. For millions of people, Pop-Tarts are a bite of nostalgia, a comfort snack, and sometimes even a guilty pleasure tucked into backpacks, lunchboxes, and desk drawers. Whether you grew up fighting over the last frosted strawberry packet in the pantry or experimenting with new limited edition flavors, Pop-Tarts have a way of sneaking into life's little moments. They're simple, convenient, and undeniably fun. A pastry that takes you back to childhood while still fitting perfectly into the hectic pace of modern life. The story of Pop-Tarts begins in the early 1960s, during a time when America was falling in love with convenience. Post-war families were working more, schedules were busier, and households needed food that was quick and ready to eat. The cereal industry was booming, and companies were racing to invent the next big breakfast innovation. Post Cereals came up with an idea for a shelf-stable fruit-filled pastry called Country Squares. But Kellogg's, seeing an opportunity, jumped ahead and launched their own version in 1964. They called it Pop-Tarts, a clever nod to the colorful and bold pop art movement sweeping the culture at the time. The name captured the fun, modern spirit of the product, and within weeks, Pop-Tarts became a sensation. The very first Pop-Tarts were simple but revolutionary. Unfrosted pastries filled with strawberry, blueberry, apple currant, or brown sugar cinnamon. Back then, the idea of a toaster pastry that didn't need refrigeration was groundbreaking. Families could stock up on them, kids could make them without help, and they fit perfectly into the American love affair with quick, on-the-go meals. Just 3 years later, in 1967, Kellogg's unveiled frosted Pop-Tarts. At first, no one thought frosting could survive a toaster, but a breakthrough in technology proved otherwise. Suddenly, breakfast wasn't just convenient, it was colorful, sweet, and fun. Those early commercials showed off shiny frosted pastries with cheerful jingles that made kids beg their parents to buy them. Over the years, Pop-Tarts became much more than a breakfast item. They became part of American pop culture. From quirky advertising campaigns to collaborations with brands, musicians, and even video games, Pop-Tarts turned into something bigger than food. They became a cultural symbol. Limited edition flavors, wild frosting designs, and collectible packaging created a sense of excitement every time new versions hit store shelves. For many families, they weren't just buying a snack. They were buying into a tradition, a treat that could brighten mornings and even bring people together. But what actually goes into making a Pop-Tart? To find out, we need to head to the heart of Kellogg's operations in Battle Creek, Michigan. This is where the magic happens on a massive scale. The process begins with the dough, the very foundation of the pastry. Huge industrial mixers combine flour, sugar, shortening, salt, and water into a smooth, pliable mixture. The texture has to be just right, not too tough and not too soft. Skilled technicians monitor the blending process to make sure the dough comes out consistent every time, because even the smallest variation could affect the final product. Once the dough is ready, it's rolled into wide, paper-thin sheets by machines that stretch and flatten it with incredible precision. The thickness is crucial because it determines how flaky and crisp the pastry will be once it's baked. These sheets move along conveyor belts where they'll soon meet the sweet fillings that give Pop-Tarts their signature taste. At the filling station, nozzles carefully squeeze just the right amount of fruit puree, cinnamon sugar mix, or chocolatey goodness onto the bottom layer of dough. The fillings are carefully formulated to stay soft after baking, so every bite delivers that gooey texture fans love. For fruit flavors like strawberry or blueberry, real fruit puree is blended with sugar and stabilizers, while flavors like brown sugar cinnamon get their richness from a blend of sugar, spices, and buttery notes. After the filling is placed, another sheet of dough is laid gently on top, creating the sandwich-like structure. Specialized machines press the edges tightly, sealing the filling inside while leaving the iconic crimped border around each pastry. These seams aren't just for looks, they're essential for keeping the filling from leaking out during baking. The large sheet of sealed dough is then cut into perfect rectangles, each one uniform in size, ready to move down the line. Next comes the baking stage, where the raw dough transforms into the golden, flaky pastry everyone recognizes. Inside massive industrial ovens, the pastries bake at carefully controlled temperatures. The dough puffs slightly, develops that satisfying crisp texture, and takes on a warm, golden brown color. At the same time, the filling thickens just enough to hold its shape while still staying soft. When the pastries emerge from the ovens, the factory is filled with the irresistible smell of sweet fruit and cinnamon wafting through the air. But baking is only half the journey. Once they're done, the Pop-Tarts need to cool slowly. They move along cooling conveyors, long belts that stretch across the factory floor, so the pastries reach room temperature without breaking apart or losing their texture. Cooling is critical because it ensures the frosting, which comes next, can be applied smoothly. Once the pastries are ready, a precise system of sprayers and applicators lays down that shiny layer of frosting we all know and love. 4 frosted varieties, colorful sprinkles are scattered across the top before the glaze sets, giving each Pop-Tart its cheerful look. Here's a fun fact: Pop-Tarts aren't just loved on Earth, they've been to space. In 2021, astronaut Christina Koch included them in her meal plan aboard the International Space Station. Imagine floating in zero gravity while enjoying a frosted strawberry Pop-Tart. It doesn't get more American than that. Stories like these show how Pop-Tarts have transcended the idea of being just a snack. They've become part of childhood memories, college dorm traditions, and even moments in history. What makes Pop-Tarts so enduring is their ability to reinvent themselves while staying familiar. Over the decades, Kellogg's has released hundreds of flavors, from classics like cherry and s'mores to bold limited editions like root beer, Jolly Rancher, and even pink lemonade. Some flavors are hits, others are just wild experiments, but each new release keeps fans engaged. Social media has only amplified the craze, with people posting reviews, taste tests, and even recipes that use Pop-Tarts in creative ways, from milkshake toppers to ice cream sandwich bases. Behind the fun flavors and marketing, though, there's real science and precision at play. Every ingredient is measured, every sheet of dough is calibrated, and every step of the process is monitored to guarantee consistency. After all, when someone opens a foil packet, they expect their Pop-Tart to taste exactly the way they remember from childhood. That consistency has been the secret to Kellogg's success, not just creating a fun product, but making sure it's reliable, affordable, and always available. Imagine waking up on a Saturday morning, shuffling into the kitchen half awake, and popping a toaster pastry into the toaster. Within minutes, the sweet aroma of warm strawberry filling and sugary frosting fills the air. That satisfying moment when you bite into the crispy pastry and taste the gooey center is what makes Pop-Tarts an American favorite. But have you ever stopped to wonder how these colorful frosted treats are actually made, or how other candies like Airheads get their chewy, tangy texture? Today we're pulling back the curtain on the fascinating world of snack production, where food scientists, giant machines, and a sprinkle of creativity work together to bring you the snacks you love. From the frosted layers of Pop-Tarts to the stretchy fun of Airheads, get ready for a behind-the-scenes journey into the world of sweet indulgence. Inside the Pop-Tarts factory, every toaster pastry begins as a simple pastry crust filled with fruity or chocolatey goodness. Once baked, each tart passes through a frosting machine that spreads an even layer of smooth icing across the top. This frosting isn't just regular sugar glaze, it's specially designed to withstand the heat of toasting without melting too quickly, so it stays intact while giving you that signature glossy finish. Some of the most popular flavors, like frosted strawberry or cookies and cream, get an extra touch of decoration. Colorful sprinkles or zigzag drizzles of icing are added while the frosting is still wet, ensuring they stick perfectly and create that playful look kids and adults adore. Watching these machines work is like watching an artist paint on an assembly line, with every tart coming out picture perfect. Once decorated, the Pop-Tarts head to the packaging station. Each tart is carefully paired and sealed in foil packaging, a design that isn't just about convenience but about keeping the pastries fresh and protected from air and moisture. That foil wrap is what allows you to stash a box in your pantry for weeks without losing any of the flavor. After being individually wrapped, they're packed into brightly branded boxes, sealed tight and stacked for shipping. From there, they're distributed across the country, ready to find their way into school lunch boxes, late-night snack runs, and breakfast tables everywhere. It's this combination of efficiency and creativity that makes Pop-Tarts such a long-lasting staple of American snacking culture. And of course, every legendary product has a tagline. Pop-Tarts are known for being crazy good, a phrase that perfectly captures their fun, over-the-top deliciousness. It's a message that resonates with kids craving something sweet and parents who love the nostalgia of the treat they grew up with. That tagline has become just as much a part of Pop-Tarts' identity as the frosting and filling themselves, reminding fans that these pastries aren't just food, they're an experience. But Kellogg's hasn't been afraid to get experimental. Over the years, Pop-Tarts have ventured into some wild flavor territory, surprising fans with creative, sometimes downright bizarre combinations. Seasonal flavors like pumpkin pie captured the essence of Thanksgiving with spiced pumpkin filling and a buttery crust. It was like having a slice of pie you could pop in the toaster. For something even bolder, the wild watermelon Pop-Tarts were hard to miss. With a neon green crust and a bright pink filling, they looked as wild as they tasted. Fans who love unusual food pairings went crazy for them, even if others scratched their heads. And for breakfast lovers who can't decide between savory and sweet, Kellogg's rolled out the Maple Bacon Pop-Tart. With a maple-flavored filling and a smoky bacon essence swirled into the frosting, it was an ambitious attempt to blend diner-style breakfast flavors into one portable pastry. Love them or hate them, these experiments show just how far Pop-Tarts are willing to go to keep fans curious and engaged. If Pop-Tarts are all about convenience and fun, Airheads candy is about playfulness and bold flavor. Picture a strip of chewy taffy in electric blue, neon pink, or fiery red, practically begging to be twisted, stretched, and pulled apart before you take a bite. Since launching in 1985, Airheads have been a staple in the candy aisle, offering something completely different from traditional chocolate bars and hard candies. Their name itself was chosen to reflect a carefree, silly attitude, and the candy has stayed true to that personality for decades. The chewy texture, tangy punch, and rainbow colors make them a favorite among kids, teens, and nostalgic adults who still remember trading them at school or picking them up at gas stations during road trips. Airheads aren't just candy, they're interactive fun. Eating one feels like an activity. The soft, taffy-like texture practically invites you to stretch it, fold it, and even tie it in knots before finally taking a bite. It's messy in the best way possible, the kind of candy that sparks creativity and makes snacking feel more like play. Over the years, Airheads have expanded their lineup with products like Airheads Bites, which pack the chewy punch into bite-sized pieces, and Airheads Extremes, sour belts that crank up the tanginess to an entirely new level. These variations keep the brand fresh and exciting while staying true to its original spirit of bold, unapologetic fun. Behind the scenes, the process of making Airheads is just as fascinating as the candy itself. It all starts with a mixture of granulated sugar, corn syrup, and water, blended together in massive industrial kettles. To achieve that stretchy chew, unflavored gelatin is often added, giving the candy its signature texture. For the signature tang, citric acid joins the mix, along with fruit flavorings and bright food colorings. Once everything is combined, the mixture is heated carefully to what candy makers call the hardball stage, around 127 degrees Celsius. This step is crucial because if the temperature is even slightly off, the candy can end up too hard or too sticky. Stirring is constant to prevent crystallization and ensure a smooth, consistent base. When the candy is ready, it's poured onto cooling tables dusted with cornstarch to keep it from sticking. Even as it cools, the candy is still pliable enough to be worked with, which is when the real magic happens. The mixture is transferred to a pulling machine, where it's stretched and folded over and over again. This process incorporates tiny air bubbles, giving Airheads their soft, chewy bite and slightly lighter feel. It's this step that literally puts the air in Airheads. Watching the long ribbons of candy being pulled and folded is hypnotic, like watching silk being woven, only the silk happens to be edible and delicious. One fun fact that surprises many fans is that Airheads are vegan-friendly. Unlike many candies that rely on animal-based gelatin, Airheads have found a way to deliver that chewy texture without compromising on dietary preferences. That makes them a go-to treat for anyone looking for plant-based candy options. Combine that with their wild flavors and colors, and it's easy to see why they've stayed popular across generations. Much like Pop-Tarts, Airheads have built their brand on a memorable slogan. The line "Play more, eat more" captures the essence of the candy perfectly. It's not just about taste but about the fun you have while eating it. Every strip, bite, or sour belt is an invitation to let loose, laugh, and enjoy the moment. Have you ever wondered what really happens behind the scenes when your favorite candies and cereals are made? Imagine stepping into a world where bright colors, sweet aromas, and incredible machines work together to transform simple ingredients into some of America's most iconic treats. From chewy, stretchy Airheads candy to the golden, crispy rings of Cheerios, the process of creating these snacks is far more fascinating than most people realize. Today we're pulling back the curtain on candy factories and cereal plants to show you exactly how these beloved products make it from farms and factories to your kitchen table. Buckle up, this is going to be a delicious ride. The journey begins with Airheads, a candy known for its playful chewiness and fun flavors. After the pulling process, which gives the candy its light, airy texture, the sweet mixture is carefully shaped into long, flat strips using a specialized shaping machine. This machine doesn't just pump out candy at random, it ensures every single strip is the same thickness, creating consistency in every bite. Once shaped, these strips are cut into uniform pieces, usually about 6 inches long and lined up neatly on a conveyor. Each one looks identical to the last, which is exactly what quality control demands when millions of candies are being made daily. From there, the candy pieces glide onto a cooling conveyor belt or into a cooling tunnel. This step is crucial. If the candy cooled too quickly, it could crack or warp, and if it cooled too slowly, it would stick together in a gooey mess. Instead, the conveyor moves the candy at a perfectly controlled speed, allowing each piece to cool evenly while maintaining its chewy flexibility. This balance is what makes Airheads so much fun to play with. You can bend them, twist them, and stretch them before you finally take that first satisfying bite. Quality is taken seriously at every stage. High-tech sensors inspect each candy strip, checking for uniform size, shape, and texture. If anything looks off, the flawed piece is quickly removed. Once the candy passes inspection, it heads to wrapping machines, where high-speed equipment spins rolls of branded foil or plastic around each strip, sealing it tightly. Packaging isn't just about presentation. It locks in freshness, ensuring that when you tear open a wrapper, the candy tastes exactly the way it's meant to. From there, the wrapped candies are boxed, shipped, and sent across the country, ready to hit store shelves and find their way into lunchboxes, Halloween bags, or road trip snack stashes. Airheads might be branded as extreme, but most fans know they're actually pretty mild in flavor. Still, their stretchy texture and colorful personality have made them a hit with kids and teens alike. Even the brand's slogan, "Out of Control Fun," captures the playful energy behind the candy. It's not just about eating something sweet, it's about having an interactive experience with your food. That sense of fun is one of the biggest reasons why Airheads continues to be such a popular treat in the United States. Now, let's shift gears from candy to cereal, because no American morning is complete without a bowl of something crunchy and delicious. For over 20 years, the #1 cereal in the US has been Cheerios, with Honey Nut Cheerios leading the charge. Cheerios isn't just another breakfast option. It's a cultural staple beloved by generations for its crispy oat rings, naturally sweet taste, and heart-healthy benefits. Whether you grew up eating them plain with milk, sprinkling them on yogurt, or handing them to toddlers as finger food, Cheerios has earned its place at the table. The story of Cheerios begins back in 1941, when General Mills first introduced it to American families under the name Cheerios. Just a few years later, in 1945, a trademark issue with Quaker Oats forced a name change, and Cheerios was officially born. By the 1950s, it had already become a favorite cereal for children across the country, and in 1979, the launch of Honey Nut Cheerios took its popularity to new heights. Sweetened with honey and almond flavoring, the new variety quickly became one of the best-selling cereals in the United States, and it hasn't looked back since. But how exactly are these golden little rings made? It all starts with oats, sourced from family-owned farms in states like North Dakota, South Dakota, and Montana. Farmers carefully grow and harvest high-quality oats, which are selected based on strict criteria like size, purity, and moisture content. Once harvested, the oats are transported to General Mills factories, such as the massive facility in New Mexico, where the transformation into Cheerios begins. At the factory, the oats go through an extensive cleaning process to remove dirt, husks, and any unwanted material. Only the cleanest, purest grains make it into production. From there, the oats are transferred into enormous stainless steel pressure cookers, each capable of holding thousands of pounds of grain. Inside these cookers, the oats are mixed with water, sugar, salt, and a small amount of starch. This mixture forms a thick paste that will eventually become the cereal dough. Under intense heat and pressure, the grains soften, the starches break down, and the mixture develops the right texture for forming into rings. Next comes the shaping process, which is both mesmerizing and precise. The oat dough is pushed through small circular molds that cut it into tiny ring shapes. These preformed rings are then blasted through a high-pressure puffing chamber, where heat causes them to expand into the familiar light, crunchy texture we all know. At this point, the cereal looks like raw Cheerios, but it hasn't yet developed its golden color or toasty flavor. That magic happens inside massive rotating ovens, where the rings are roasted at high temperatures until they turn golden brown and crisp. The aroma inside the plant at this stage is mouth-watering, warm, nutty, and slightly sweet. For Honey Nut Cheerios, the process continues with a special coating made from honey, almond flavor, and just a touch of cinnamon. This coating is sprayed evenly onto the toasted oat rings, giving them that sweet glaze that clings to your fingers. Other varieties, like chocolate Cheerios or apple cinnamon Cheerios, receive different flavor coatings made from cocoa powder, fruit-based seasonings, or sugar blends. Once coated, the cereal passes through a drying tunnel, where warm air locks in the flavor without leaving the rings sticky. After cooling, the cereal faces another round of strict quality control. Advanced cameras and sensors scan each piece, ensuring it has the right shape, size, and color. Any broken or misshapen Cheerios are removed, leaving only the perfect ones for packaging. The cereal then travels along conveyor belts to filling machines, which pour precise amounts into boxes. Each box is sealed, stamped with a production date, and stacked onto pallets. From there, trucks whisk them away to grocery stores and supermarkets across the country. Within days, those same boxes might be sitting on your kitchen shelf, ready to be poured into your breakfast bowl. Walking down the cereal aisle in any American supermarket today, you'll see an entire rainbow of Cheerios flavors. The original variety remains a healthy, low-sugar option made simply from whole grain oats, perfect for anyone looking for a clean, heart-friendly breakfast. Honey Nut Cheerios delivers a sweet but balanced flavor that has made it the nation's favorite. For chocolate lovers, Chocolate Cheerios offers a guilt-free way to enjoy a cocoa-flavored breakfast. And if you like a little variety, there are more than 15 flavors to choose from, including apple cinnamon, frosted, multi-grain, and even gluten-free or high-protein versions for those with special dietary needs. From candy conveyors to cereal ovens, what ties all of this together is the precision and creativity behind America's favorite snacks. Airheads may be all about playful fun, while Cheerios represents comfort, tradition, and health, but both products highlight the incredible technology and dedication that goes into modern food production. The next time you unwrap an Airhead or pour yourself a bowl of Cheerios, you'll know there's an entire world of farming, cooking, shaping, flavoring, and packaging behind that one simple bite. And that's the beauty of food manufacturing. It transforms basic ingredients into something magical. Whether it's a chewy strip of fruity candy or a golden oat ring floating in milk, these treats aren't just products. They're stories of innovation, culture, and everyday joy.